Today we're going to talk about a coin, but this isn't just any old piece of currency. It's small, it's made of copper, and back when it was first made, it was worth, well, half a penny. Today, though, it's an object of pure obsession. It's a legend that can bring in a fortune. This is the story of the 1923 Australian halfpenny. And believe me, after you hear this, you will never, ever look at pocket change the same way again.
And that is not an exaggeration, not even a little bit. This quote, it really gets to the very soul of what this coin is. This isn't just a hobby. For so many people, it becomes this all-consuming quest, this lifelong hunt for what is basically a numismatic ghost, a ghost that almost no one ever gets to catch.
And that's just the brutal, honest truth of it. I mean, look at the coin itself. It's humble, it's understated. You see the date, 1923, sitting there so innocently. But those four little digits, they're the source of so much frustration, so much desire. The search is what really defines this coin. And for almost everyone, that search ends in disappointment.
Okay, so to really get why this little coin is so extraordinary, we have to go back. All the way back. Picture the Melbourne Mint in 1923. The world is still recovering from the First World War, because in that year something happened, or maybe more accurately, something didn't happen, and that's what created a legend. The historical context here is absolutely everything. Australia was a young nation, right? And the mint was just doing its job, making coins for the country. But for some reason, in 1923, they produced a shockingly small number of halfpennies, just a tiny fraction compared to other years. And here's the kicker. 100 years later, after all the research, no one really knows why. The official records, they're incomplete. There's just this giant gaping hole right in the middle of the story. So we're stuck with these maddening questions. Was it on purpose? Was it just some bureaucratic screw-up that got lost in the paperwork? Maybe they were short on metal. We just don't know. And that uncertainty, that mystery, is a massive part of the coin's appeal. Collectors love a good mystery. And this is one of the greatest in Australian history.
The mystery of why so few were made is really only chapter 1. The second part of the story, the thing that makes this coin so incredibly rare, is what happened after it left the mint. This is where rarity isn't just manufactured, it's forged by the simple, brutal grind of everyday life.
So, it all starts with scarcity. You have an unbelievably small number of these coins ever entering circulation. The foundation for a legend was already there, right from day one, but that's just layer 1 of its rarity.
See, back then, the halfpenny wasn't some collector's item you kept in a case. It was a workhorse. This was the coin you used to buy newspapers, candy for the kids, a loaf of bread. It jingled around in pockets, it was passed through thousands and thousands of hands, and it took a beating from daily use.
And every single one of those transactions wore the coin down, little by little. The fine details on King George V's portrait, they started to fade. The sharp edges became soft and rounded. Scratches appeared. And in the world of coin collecting, where the condition of a coin is everything, circulation, well, it was basically a death sentence for its value and its beauty.
So here's the most important point. When you take that extremely low number of coins that were made in the first place and you combine it with a century of being used and abused, the number of coins that survived in pristine, high-grade condition is almost zero. It's so small it's hard to even comprehend. We are talking about a tiny handful of examples, maybe fewer than you have fingers on one hand, in those absolute top grades.
And that extreme, almost impossible rarity, that's what transformed this coin. Over the decades, its reputation just grew and grew. It went from just being another coin to being a key date that collectors needed, to eventually becoming the undisputed holy grail for anyone who collects Australian coins. And this is where the human element, the obsession, really takes over. The difference is it's staggering. Think about it. A coin that was worth half of a single penny, something you literally wouldn't even bend over to pick up off the street today, is now a monumental treasure. That transformation is just absolutely incredible. And when we say a fortune, we are not kidding. At auction, the best examples can sell for 60, 70, even more thousand Australian dollars. It's just simple economics, right? When the supply is almost non-existent and the demand from collectors is enormous, the price can shoot into the stratosphere.
But for the real collectors, this isn't just about the money. Not at all. That dollar value is almost secondary. It's about the hunt.
It's about the late nights scrolling through auction sites, the early mornings spent at coin shows. It's about that jolt, that absolutely electric moment of discovery when you finally see one with your own eyes. That feeling, you can't put a price on that.
So what are we even looking for here? On the left, that's the obverse, or the front, with a portrait of King George V. On the right, the reverse, or the back, with that classic kangaroo design. But really, every collector's eyes go straight to the bottom, to that date, 1923. 4 little digits that represent the absolute peak of Australian coin collecting.
Of course, whenever an object becomes this valuable, this legendary, it attracts some, let's say, undesirable attention. Because where there's that much value, there are always fakes.
And this is the most critical question for anyone who even thinks about entering this world. You know, the most common trick isn't a total counterfeit. It's much cleverer. It's an altered date on a more common coin. And to an untrained eye, they can look unbelievably real. So, what do? How do you protect yourself?
Okay, listen up. These are the absolute essential rules. First, and I cannot possibly say this loud enough, do not clean the coin. Ever. You will obliterate its value. Second, you have to get it looked at by a reputable professional coin dealer. And third, for a coin of this importance, you must insist on certification from an independent third-party grading service. They're the ones who will authenticate it, grade its condition, and seal it in a protective case. It's not optional, it is essential protection.
But, you know, beyond all the auctions and the high prices and the risk of fakes, this coin is something more. It's a physical piece of history, a tangible connection to an Australia that is long, long gone. And the hunt for it continues right now, to this day. In our digital world of just tapping a card to pay, a physical coin like this is a powerful reminder of a different time. Holding a 1923 halfpenny, it's like holding a tiny time machine in your hand. It is a direct, physical link to the people, the places, the struggles, and the dreams of Australia almost a century ago.
So where could they be? Well, that's the exciting part. They are almost certainly still out there, hidden away in some old tobacco tin in a grandfather's shed, tucked into the back of a drawer at an estate sale, forgotten in a dusty box in a country home, or just lost somewhere in the beautiful chaos of a life lived long ago. The story isn't over, not by a long shot.
After 100 years, after all the hands that held it, all the auctions, all the arguments, all the dreams, and all the fakes, this little copper coin endures. Its legend only gets stronger with every single year that passes. And that leaves us with the one final, tantalizing question. Are there more just waiting to be found? The experts, the seasoned collectors, the dreamers, they all believe the answer is yes. And it's that belief that's what keeps the hunt and the legend alive.